Hey guys, and welcome back to Shadow Empire with me, Time and Tactics. We're looking at the Empire of Time, which is our empire over here, and the city of Bismarck, which is the one city, the one zone we have right now. Our governor, Chrissy Robin Hans, is there in charge. Excellent. 50,600 people. It's a pretty good city, I think, because we have the farmland outside the city here. Right now we have 2 hexes, and we can see that here. We get 10% bonus modifier to farming because of these two. If we expand just a little bit out here, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more. That'd be huge. 5% for each one. We could almost double everything, right? So that's going to be pretty good if we do that. We're going to definitely see if we can take that on. Now, out here, we have what's called non-aligned forces. So we don't really know who's out there. It's called Silent Shrine, this zone over here, but it's not going to be a city there, I don't think. But we should probably expand anyway because we have a city, and that city, well, the people who live in the city are going to be worried if they don't feel that our land expand very far outside the city. Who knows what's going to happen? Who's going to come and attack them there in the city? Right now we have a danger level of 4. If we push out a little bit here, we should have pushed to, I think it's more than 2 hexes, might be even 3 or 4, that you have to control outside your city for people to feel safe. And we're going to try to do that. That would be great to get land. And also in the north, we have Villeneuve here. It's a free folk settlement, 11,500. If they come and join us, that'd be awesome. Actually, moving into the city of Bismarck. There's also Mayrais over here, 15,100, even bigger. Now that's huge. So if we can keep our happiness up here, keep people happy in Bismarck, the people out here in Villeneuve and Mayrais, they're going to know, or Mayrais, they're going to know and hear about that and move into the city. Right now, our happiness among the population, the ones that don't work for us directly, is 82. And plus 2, what happened here? Population happiness increased with 4 points. Well, this is the first turn, so I don't think really these numbers might be reflective of everything. But then it also went down by 2 points due to danger, and that's because we haven't taken that control of our area. But anyway, so that's looking pretty good. We also have the ruins of the old city that Bismarck is built upon. Well, we're using the ruins right now that we are on top of here in this private scavenging unit or building, this community, I guess. Level 1. They're taking care of everything here, but they're providing us some of that as tax, I guess, right? So 19 fuel, we get that. We get 54 metal. We don't get this. This is a private metal, and this here is private oil as well. But we do get a little bit out of it. If we build our own scavenging, well, I think it's called recycling factory. If we build it, then we would get even more. And there's 23,000 points of that scavenging, of, scavengeable items out there. Here is only 8.7. So let's go ahead and do that as well. So we have 2 goals here. Expand out, and also take this one here and make sure we get that recycling center on top of it. But before we get started, I think I want to take a look at our models, our military units that we can get eventually. We don't have them right now. We have the blueprint, but that's all. And somebody was suggesting I should be careful. Don't get the model council. The model council is responsible for changing, upgrading, creating new models for you. Why would you do that? Well, because sometimes you get models here at the beginning, and they're not very good. And also, you eventually going to need new models when you get tanks, things like that. But right away, when I looked at it last time, and I have my spreadsheet open here, I could see that the structural design is really good. But you have 119. Average is 100. And this value here will never change. Even if we create, even if we upgrade this unit that's called rifle, infantry type, it's never going to change this value. And this value is like a multiplier to the final value over here, which is what's used in combat. The base design is also multiplier, but unlike the structural design, when you enhance, when you upgrade this to become, let's say, rifle Mark II, then they would then be, we would re-roll this value. Same thing for weapon design. Now, this value is below the average. Average is 85. And this value here is also below the average, actually, because in order to find out what your weapon design is, you do roll, I think it's like 4d10, but you also add in half of this value, and you multiply by this value. And considering how high structural design is, we should have rolled in the 90s here. So I was thinking, hey, why don't we get a model design council, put somebody in charge, they can then go ahead and upgrade the rifle unit. And at the same time, let's get them some armor and some better weapons. We can do that because when you start the game, if we look at tech, we have access to what's called carbines. And that's better than I think it's like slug throwers they have here. If you go back in here to models, we can see here they have slug thrower. That's like the very basic weapon. So there is a case to be made to right away in the game, I think, anyway, to set up a council here, a model council, and then go ahead and just develop that. However, if you do that, then you take time away from other things you can do, and you need people to be in charge, and more to the point, when you are assigning tasks to your different councils, they have to share the bureaucratic points. Right now, we only have the Supreme Command Council. They get all 50. That will increase, obviously, but and they split it up two ways. For political power and general stratagems, 25 each. But if I now put in the model council, we're going to be splitting that 50. So, you got to be a little bit careful about it. But the rifle I'm on the fence about that. Now, if you look down below, we have the machine gun. Machine guns in general are pretty good at defending. You can see that here. The second number is really defensive value. And over here too. And that is, this value here against soft targets is really quite high. Now, if you look at the value for the machine gun, 113, again, higher than average. And this is higher than average. And the weapon design is then actually lower than it needs to be. It should be 95, if I'm correct here, for the average, considering these two. So we could also use the Model Design Council to get an improved version of the machine gun with armor. That would be helpful as well. Going down the list, we'll just do this now so you kind of get a feel for the units. The main transport is actually quite poor. I say that because if you look at the structural design, if you know that the number goes between 70 and 130, 78 is very low. And then the base design is just barely above average, 88. And our engine design roll here was very, very poor. Even with this poor number here, we should have rolled more than 56. That really is reflective then in the movement they can make. They don't really participate in combat, but they can help you move faster, right? But I don't know, having a main transport that's super fast and not as useful maybe at the beginning of the game, so I'm not really looking at that too much. Okay, that brings us down to the Crossbilly Recon Buggy. They are pretty good because if you look on the map, let's go back to the map and take a quick peek here. We can see there's a unit. Oh, it's gone. No, it's not gone. I pressed 1 to get rid of the units. There's a unit here. We don't see anything. Why? Because our recon value is 4. Really poor. You can see here it says you need a minimum of 40 to get some idea of what's in there. It's not going to be great, but it's going to be something. If you're all the way up to 400 in recon, then you're going to be getting a full, exactly what's in there. So I'm a little bit worried about that. If we had a recon buggy, we could send him out because he has a recon value of 5, which is much higher than these rifle units, 1. So that's a good reason to have them. And they're pretty fast, too. They can move a lot faster than the rifle units. Looking at their numbers, well, structural design is average. This is below average. And let me have a look at my numbers here. Yeah, engine quality, engine design is high. Weapon design is also high. And then armor design, super. Really, really good. Considering these values here, we shouldn't have rolled 105, in an average world anyway. So they can take a lot of punishment here and still do decent damage. So that we don't need to upgrade them or change them around, or I think much. Right now, we already at high values. Later on, maybe we'll do that. But so we have to think about that. Are we getting that Model Design Council? Well, we'll think about it. But that makes me think of the leaders that we have. Let me actually go back out here and we'll take a look at the factions. So leaders can belong to a faction, and I like to look at that here because if we have a faction that is not at all on the same page as we are, and we have, what do we have? Meritocracy, so what we're going for here, 48. And we're going for government and heart. Well, if you look at the Steel Front, they're the ones that are in charge, so to speak. They're the ones that can make demands of us. They love enforcement. Now, enforcement, and let me see if I can find it here. We don't really like enforcement. We're not going for enforcement. It gives you different benefits. And I don't think I want to change that. But then that means we're going to be in trouble here with them. Eventually, anybody who is a member of this faction is going to be wanting to take on that enforcement. And there's nothing here for Owen right now. But, eventually he will be starting to be thinking enforcement as well. Zed over here, yep, he has it. So that doesn't mean that they necessarily dislike government. But it means that if I have an option between enforcement and government, and I take enforcement, well, government, that means they're going to be, ticked off. They're not going to be too happy. Now, for the other faction we have, and you can have many factions, but we have 2 right now, based on the population, I think. But anyway, they only have 33% control here, or only 33% of our leaders voted for them. They have heart. Well, that's great. Commerce, which we don't have, and meritocracy, also good. So I'm thinking about this one it's going to be a lot easier to make them happy, I think, because I'm going to tend to take heart and meritocracy options when I get the chance. To make them even happier, though, it would be good if we were to give them zone administration. So being governor somewhere would be helpful. Or if not a governor, something other than reserve pool. That doesn't give you anything. You can see here we have a little bit of a plus for them in their relation to us, because Biff here, he is advisor, and that's considered part of the national government, whereas Caprice here is not. So what can we do with her? That's very interesting, I think, to see what she can do. Go over to our leader screen and look at Caprice. And let's pull her up here. I've obviously looked at this a little bit in between episodes. So she right now has a relation of 76. It will drop down to 54 right now, mainly because of the job prestige. Well, imagine, being a reserve pool member is not very good. If we give her basically any job, she's going to go up. She's level 3, one of our best ones. So let's look and see what she can do. She's militia, commerce, and meritocracy. Good, but over time she'll get heart, I think, as well. She's level 3, we knew that. Not super ambitious, but a little bit. She's 65. That's a negative. She's pretty old. But look at this here. Intelligence 54. That will modify all of these skills here. That's really high. You can tell that it's really high because the other 2 are, much lower. She's best in intelligence. And it so happens, if you have high intelligence, all the green stuff is modified, and that fits pretty well, I think, with being a governor. Now, that said, she doesn't have any skill in this. This just means intelligence, that she'll get a positive modifier, and because she's level 3, she will be gaining, skills faster here because of that. But maybe we should cater, play to her strengths instead. What is she good? What can she do right now? Well, she has high command and operational command. That's interesting because operational command is good for an operational commander. Like if we create a formation, a brigade, she can be in charge of that. I think she can do pretty good work there too. Her modified skill level is 59, modified by war there. And by the way, she also has these things here. Infantry tactics, which means that improve the combat performance for infantry units, which is great for an operational commander. Lead from the front. Okay, morale boost. Okay, offensive tactics, defensive tactics, that's great. Tank tactics, that's all good. She could make a very good, I think, operational commander. Now, that said, not really having played the game, I think they have a greater risk of dying in combat if you do that. So maybe we don't want to do that. The other thing we could do with her, and that goes back to the councils that we have right now. We only have one. Right, that's the Supreme Command Council right now. If we create a second one, and I think we have an option here. Yeah, create one over here. If we go for something like the Economic Council, and I made some notes to myself. If we do that, then she's going to get access to different skills. Or not access, she's going to be using different skills. Let's look at that here. Let's go back into her. Yeah, basically, I'm looking at my notes that I took before. She's going to use prospecting, which is used when you have that, remember that factory, the scavenging factory? That's going to be great if she has that in the Economic Council. Did I mention that? Economic Council? Yeah. So she's going to be using that. And she's going to be using, let me see, what else? Inventor. Because for the Economic Council, you have economic texts you can research. And she can also use science. That's for discovery, for research tasks, and zone education level of calculation. And then finally, what else do we have? Administration. That is impacting, I think, things like even farming gets impacted by administration. Anyway, so all of this stuff that is good for an economic council leader is within the green area, which is she's really good at. Eventually, she'll gain a lot of skill in that. So I'm thinking about actually putting her in charge of that. So if we take her, and this is where I'm actually going to start playing the game, let's go ahead and assign her to an economic council. But before we assign her, we have to actually add it. Okay, Jamie. So he has taken that order. Next turn, that's going to take effect, and we can then assign her, hopefully. We can assign her. We'll get a couple of options, but if we don't have too many free commanders or free leaders available, she's going to be one of the options we can pick. Okay, so that takes care of that. We have a few more things. Ascension speech and upgrade to a big town. Okay, let's just go ahead and start on the units then. So let's look at the units now. Remember, these are not our regular units. These are the militia units. Not very good, honestly, at all. I don't know if you remember, but let's just pull up one number here. If you look at the rifle here, soft attack, when they're attacking and when they're defending, 2244. Let's compare that, 2244, to this militia unit here, the 4th Bismarck Guards Regiment. And look at a rifle militia, 2244. Yeah, half the strength, not even that. So not nearly as good. We got to get those regular units out there. Now that said, this is still a pretty strong unit, 20 in strength overall, because it has, machine gun, RPG, all that stuff that we don't have yet. So we have a couple of mechanized here. They're going to be good on a road. There's no road or an open terrain. This one here is not as mobile, but it's good in terrain that's difficult for other units. So, good defending there. Let's go ahead and move out. I think I'm going to spread out a little bit and get an eye on what's out there. Okay, so now I'm going to press M for move. You can also go over to this one here and press this here. But anyway, let's go over here. So we can reach, with this unit, we can reach all the way down there, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to go down, so right click. Okay, that's one. Oh, there's Roseworth over here. I'm going to take it slow in the beginning. I warned you. There is a marsh here, grassy marsh. See, motorized and tanks get a negative attack modifier, negative defensive modifier, and it costs a lot in movement cost to get through there. We're not going to go down there yet anyway. Now, because we moved, we lost some of that readiness, but more importantly, we lost action points. How much will it cost us to move over here? When you look over here, 25. That's good. Let's do that. There's another unit down here. Okay. I'm going to press I again for inspection mode. What do we have now? 19 in recon. So it's gone up, but not to 40. Not yet. Now, that was, if I press 1 to get rid of units, there's nothing here, but there is something here. A silent shrine. What is this now? That is a hermit's cave. I don't even know what that is. A reclusive old hermit lives here. He has arcane knowledge and is willing to spend some of his time to educate the governor of the zone. Governor XP plus 10. Every turn, I guess. Wow. That's a hex perk. We don't need a road to it, unlike other kind of assets, but that would be great to get. Down here is Veins, which is a small, well, decent size free folk settlement. Okay, let's press 1 again. We can't get down there, though. In this particular zone, the Silent Shrine, oh, that's why. It's named after this. Okay. It's owned by non-aligned forces. Can be anything. Can be, just animals there, basically, or dangerous alien animals or beings, creatures. By the way, the 10 you see here, that's how the extra action points it takes to operate in that hex right now. And in this case, it's because we are, see a penalty 10. That's because we just captured it. So I'm not going to go any further, I think. I've taken the area I wanted to take for sure, and that is the agriculture area right here. So that's good. I think what we have to do is bring down another unit here so we kind of hold it. How many units do we have left here? We have 3 left if you don't count the Supreme Headquarter. We'll move down the next one. I'm going to go down here, I think. I'll go one at a time. Now, the more you move, the less readiness you will have. So right now we have 96. And I like to kind of keep the readiness back. Readiness is a multiplier in combat. So if you have readiness 50, you'll only get half of your strength to apply in battle. So we're going to stay here, I think. I don't think there's any point going down there yet. We'll hold this line here. Now we only have 2 units left, and I need to go east as well. How far should I go? I need to go to this point, I think. Let's go ahead and move. We'll go up here. Another one. Another free folk settlement here. That would be a Kurkor. Kurkor? Yeah. 12,000 free folk there. That's good. And I'm going to move over here. Okay, nothing else. I haven't seen any other units. That's good. So now we've taken that. That's excellent. So we have pushed out our border. I wish I could take this one too, because I think there's one hex here and one there. I think hopefully they won't lose too much, or they won't be too upset, feeling too threatened by the border. But I'm going to move up my other unit this way. This one. Move up here. Okay, you can hear that's the infantry unit. And one more. Okay, what is this? Chile? A small settlement, 7,500. Which, by the way, who owns this? Zendrum. Supelion. Look at that. Zendrum is here. We just cut them off from that. Zendrum is an actual minor regime. This is a territory, which is also a regime, but they don't have a city, as far as I understand it anyway. If I move up there, I'm going to take this one too. I think I will do that. We'll go up there. And now we control these as well. Now, right now, the border is very fluid. And by the way, you can see the bar now turned yellow. And that's because we lost, now we're down to our redness of 71. We have all the units we need. That's why the bar is full length, but they're not as prepared to attack anymore or defend. But if we can hold this, there's a lot of potential population to move into Bismarck. And, more population is better, right? Should I move this one even further out? Remember, the combat value is per unit here. So the militia is going to be good in forest. I think it's a forest, heavy forest. But if you look motorized, not so good. And we have a couple of units here. We have irregular artillery and the buggy. The buggy is what? Tracked. So you can see the tracked value in a heavy forest is what? There. What do we have? Tracked would be, I think, consider tanks, -70, or defensive -40. Not good at all. So you want to stay on the plains, I think. I could move one more. We probably will do that. Then we're going to take this one too. Hopefully. Yes, we did. That means there's nobody else there. I can go one more out here. If we want to, we can turn on something here, logistics. Oh, we have turned it on. Okay, so that's good. We can see here if we have any problem with supplies. We don't have a problem with supplies right now. If I deselect that, you can see the shading disappears. Everything is green, so everything is good there. What's this here? That would be low mountains forest. That's not great for defensive or for tracked units or guns. Yeah, so maybe we'll move down to Kurkor. Because this moved over and we actually expanded our control over it, I know there's no unit there. No enemy. Let's go down there and sit on that. Okay, good. Now, there's somebody else here. Non-aligned. That's a different non-aligned. There's a Conus there, and there is Silent Shrine here. Okay, that will have to do, but you can see I don't have very many units. We need to get something in there. Need to get a few units here. Okay, so we're taking care of that. I'm going to stay put here. My 2 units here, if we hold them back, if we stay put here, maybe we can defend that. But I need to get more units. So now we have to decide what to do. What do we do with what we have here? Important, I think, is to use our industrial points wisely. And that's my problem here. Do we go for creating what's called a recycling center here? We can go to construction menu. There, and we can say in this particular hex, rural assets, so it's not in a city, we can go to the mining and we can say recycling facility 1. Takes 2 rounds. We need 2,000 workers every round, and that shouldn't be a problem. We can look at that in a minute. We have 50 metal we have to use every turn. We have 158. Good. 125 industrial points. We only have 95. We're making 45 every turn due to our service tax, I believe. And then we need 1 machine. We have 0. So we have to buy some stuff. But once that's done, after 2 rounds or more, depending on how long it takes us to, if we get started now, we're only going to use 95, so we get a partial turn credit. But then for our 2,100 workers we're going to keep there, we gain rare metals, fuel, and metal. And fuel will be good too, because fuel is going to be used, I think heavily by if we get tanks. So that would be tempting to build here. If we don't do that, what we can do is we could maybe convert this one here to be a private or to be a public building, meaning It's not no longer owned by the private citizens there. The problem with that is you take away jobs from people, so now they can't work anymore. They're going to get a little bit unhappy if you do it, and it's going to cost you money. So I don't think I want to do that. I want to see if I can actually build one here. But that's competing with another thing I want to do, and that's raise a new formation. Formation is how you get those models we looked at for our units. Yeah, how do we get them on the field? That's here. And you can do it two different ways. We can either have a full brigade core army, that's these here, or we can say we want independent, a single unit, if you like, here. There's some limitations to those, but it might be better to get that. Let's say we wanted to get independent unit here, and I don't think, there. Yeah, if you go for battalion, the smallest independent battalion, without an HQ, what do we get? We have to have 1,000 infantry. If I select one of these, let's look at them here. What can we do it right now? Well, we can't do it right now. It says here, we have the troops, we have the items, we have no logistics that we can use. Why is that? Because I have not selected a good hex for it. There's no road here. We can't just raise a new formation. We have to do it in our city. Or we have to build a road. Either way. So if we do it here, now suddenly we can see we have a percentage here of 100. That means we can get one independent infantry battalion. If we do an independent infantry regiment, almost. We can get the machine gun. And what did we say about the machine gun? Machine gun was... Weapon design was bad. The recon buggy was the best one, wasn't it? I think, yeah, the armor was good. Remember that? And the weapon was good. I'm looking at my spreadsheet here. If we get a battalion, 86, we can almost get that. 50 buggies. Every 10 buggies is like a unit in combat for a buggy, and every 100 infantry is a unit. So that takes us, that will cost us 500 recruits. We have 2,600, no problem. 110 industrial points. We have 95, and that's why we get 86 here. 90 metal, and we have 158, and 2 political points. That's them up here. We have that too. I'm tempted to go for that independent recon battalion. Now, if I do that though, then I can't get my recycling here center, and I kind of want to get that recycling center. Although I'm worried about them here. If they come and attack us, we got to get some unit out there. Although, thinking about it, if I get that recon buggy, it is good, but it's meant for recon, and I need units to defend. Maybe getting a machine gun. Remember the machine gun? Better at defense. So one here, I can get 100 of it, 100%, 500, so 5 units. A machine gun, that is pretty good. Only cost me 10. You know what I'm saying? This might be what we want to go for. Maybe get one of those units and send it out there. I think I'll go for that. So that's a machine gun. We'll raise one of them here, and then I'll send him out here, and he can hold the line. I think holding the line here at the agricultural line center, that would be a good idea. So let's raise one of those. So one independent. Should we go for a regiment? I can still get a regiment. That will be quite a bit more. And a regiment will give me only 1 unit, but much stronger for the 1 unit. Is it better to get 2 smaller ones? That's 500. 1 regiment is tempting now. It's 36 here. It will cost me 3 political points. 36 metal there. I think I'm going to go for a battalion. We'll get 1 battalion. Let's start that out with 1. There. And we can see right away this button is available. And we have everything. Yep, everything is looking good here. We don't need anything else. Let's get that. So there it is now. And now let me look and see what it has here. It has 0 action points. Just now raised. Can't do anything. Redness is 50%. Next turn we'll move out. Only strength 5. Compare that to 7 here. Why 7? Well, there's 1 unit of rifle militia here, 1 of RPG, 1 biker, 1 artillery, versus these 5 machine guns. So not as good. And the machine gun we have, it is good to have a machine gun because they are pretty strong defensively, but the numbers we have are not, great. 85 is not a good number considering this. But, it's not bad. 85 is good to defend with. So I'm kind of happy we did that anyway. That still leaves us with a few of these industrial points. Why don't we go ahead and get a... Should we go ahead and get one? A building here? We'll do that. I think I'll do it. So we'll get a recycling facility. The other thing I was thinking about is that if we go back to the city, here. Look at this one here. Construct government building, high command unit. Well, we're upgrading our command bunker basically to level 2. 40 bureaucratic points and 100 political points instead of what we have now, 25 and 10, which is also very good. But I think we may need more material, and there's nobody up here, so I don't feel too threatened up here. We'll get that going. Might be a mistake, but we'll go for that anyway. So mining, recycling, let's go for that. Yeah, we'll cost. Oh wait, yeah, we have to remember.
Affirmative.
Yep, thank you. The governor, Chrissy, said okay. Let's make sure we buy at least one machine, because we need one per turn. Let's go to the trade window. And from what I understand, it's cheaper at the beginning of the game anyway to buy, so maybe we want to do that. 517 is what we have money there. So if I buy one, there's 7 available from traders, 31 each. I'm going to buy both. The reason I don't buy too many is because we might find something, you know, sometimes it's a random event, you get something there, but buying 2 seems reasonable. We'll buy 2. That should be enough for that building. So now we're getting that building going, and we can actually, I think we can see it here. Yep, right there. Under construction, 2 turns left. Well, we'll see how that goes. And that looks pretty good to me, but now we have a decisions left. Nationalization. Okay, here's our ascension speech. The buzz on the street is that you are about to address the nation. For most of the people and leaders of the Empire of Time, you're still an unknown. They need to know what you plan to do with your newly gained power. The question on everyone's lips is, what is your dream? Well, yeah, it's not just my dream. It's like, what is everybody else's dream? Now, we have 3 options. Enforcement, commerce, government. And depending on what we do, they're going to like it or not. Now, government is the one thing where nobody in my entire cabinet or any leader cares about. But I don't want to lose our edge in government that we have here. We already have 48. And if I pick something else, they start to compete with each other. That's what these arrows show. And the government is here, and it's strong against, commerce is strong against government. So I think I want to continue with government. We'll go for that.
Aye, aye, sir.
Okay, so with that, we gained 11 points on that. If we're lucky, we get another faction maybe that likes government as well. So now we have 59, and if you remember, we're going to get the option. Maybe we'll find stratagems coming up here. So at turn 3, we're going to get more bureaucratic points anyway, 40%. That's good. We have another city, or we have a question for Chrissy here. In our city, our zone, do we want to upgrade it? It's a level 2 right now, and basically that affects how you can upgrade your buildings. We're level 1 here now. We can't go past level 2. We don't have anything level 3. Private don't count. They don't count at all. So I don't think it's we don't need to do it yet. We just say, ask me later.
Affirmative.
Yep. Thank you for that. No more decisions remaining. And that's pretty much the first turn. I think we're doing okay, but I don't think with this game you can take it for granted. But now I'm curious to see how much more do we get here in farming, and are we going to be able to get that building up and going, the recycling center? And are they going to attack here before we can move in our machine guns? Well, tune in next time, and we'll continue playing Shadow Empire. And if you have any comments, put them down below. I'll be sure to take a look at them. Bye, guys.